A raging storm of spiritual energy swept across the heavens and earth, its terrifying force so overwhelming that even a powerhouse at the level of the third divine soul tribulation would face certain death if caught within it. Under the gazes of everyone present, a massive figure, towering a full 1,000 feet, emerged step by step from the colossal vortex of spiritual energy. The being's immense body was a uniform brown, with fists that spanned nearly 100 feet in size. "That's the Nine Origins divine body," murmured some supreme stage experts in the crowd, their tone tinged with recognition and awe. Among the Wu Yuan sect's treasures, this supreme Dharmakaya stood out for its formidable power. While it hadn't been ranked among the top 99 supreme Dharmakayas, it was still far superior to ordinary ones. With the supreme Dharmakaya activated, Luo Gang was now strong enough to face even a peak third-grade supreme in battle. Yet, here he was, deploying it against a mere second-grade supreme. A stunningly beautiful woman. This disparity drew murmurs from the crowd. It was already considered dishonorable for a third-grade supreme to target a second-grade supreme, let alone being forced to such extremes. The prestige of the Wu Yuan sect was undoubtedly at risk. Ling Qingzhu's expression grew serious as she stared at the towering, mountain-like figure ahead. Her fingers began to move in a deliberate rhythm. Ding! Just as everyone wondered how she would respond, a silver light bloomed at her fingertips. A silver sigil slowly materialized before her, drawing surprised reactions from the 6 major lords in the distance. The sigil bore an aura resembling that of the space ancestral talisman, though slightly inferior. Clearly, it was an imprint, a near-perfect replica of the genuine talisman. Ling Qingzhu understood that the space ancestral talisman alone wouldn't suffice against the Nine Origins divine body. Though she could detonate a talisman, as she had a year ago, even injuring a 4th-grade supreme with its destructive power, that method was a last resort. The 8 ancestral talisman imprints given to her by Lin Dong were meant for her protection, and she was unwilling to expend one just to deal with a 3rd-grade supreme. Ding! 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 Following the space ancestral talisman, imprints of the ice ancestral talisman, devouring ancestral talisman, life and death ancestral talisman, primordial ancestral talisman, and dark ancestral talisman emerged one by one. Unfortunately, the flame ancestral talisman and thunder ancestral talisman had been destroyed in her earlier battle against the boundless ancestor. The sight of Ling Qingzhu simultaneously activating 6 ancestral talismans left even the distant Lord of Life and Death and others visibly astonished. Apart from the ancestral talisman master and Lin Dong, Ling Qingzhu was likely the 3rd individual capable of wielding multiple talismans at once. Mastering such a feat meant she could access the powers of multiple attributes simultaneously. The surrounding heavens and earth buzzed with excitement. Even in the vast Great Thousand Worlds, few could simultaneously control so many attributes. Pretentious tricks. Luo Gang sneered as he observed the 6 radiant sigils before Ling Qingzhu. His hand seals shifted, and a cold laugh echoed across the battlefield. "Let me show you ignorant lower dimension fools what a supreme Dharmakaya truly is." Roar. The Nine Origins divine body released a thunderous roar, and the spiritual energy it emitted surged like storming winds and thunderclaps, shaking the space within hundreds of miles. With a heavy stomp, the massive figure lunged forward, its colossal form bearing down on Ling Qingzhu with earth-shaking force. The ground beneath it crumbled into a deep depression from the sheer power. Boom! The Nine Origins divine body didn't rely on any intricate technique, just a simple punch. Yet the terrifying force radiating from the attack caused the land within thousands of miles to tremble violently. The power of this single punch surpassed even that of the Great Yuan finger from earlier. High in the air, thousands of feet away, Ling Qingzhu stood poised. Her gaze focused on the charging Nine Origins divine body. Without hesitation, she pointed at the ice ancestral talisman before her. Buzz! The snow-white talisman erupted with radiant white light, transforming into a 1,000-foot wide beam that shot directly toward the advancing Nine Origins divine body. The freezing aura emanating from the beam seemed capable of freezing even the surrounding space. A massive white beam pierced the sky, crashing down with unstoppable force onto the Nine Origins divine body under the gaze of all present. In the next instant, like a detonating bomb, a blinding white brilliance erupted from the front of the Nine Origins divine body, engulfing an area tens of thousands of feet in radius. Everything within this range was frozen solid, including the Nine Origins divine body itself, which transformed into a towering ice sculpture over 1,000 feet tall. "Is this your so-called method?" Luo Gang sneered coldly upon seeing the Nine Origins divine body sealed in ice by Ling Qingzhu. However, terrifying energy rippled outward from the frozen region, shaking the earth and causing countless cracks to spread across the massive ice sculpture. With the sound of shattering, the layers of ice encasing the Nine Origins divine body exploded into fragments, and the figure launched itself once again at Ling Qingzhu with incredible speed. "Use your strongest technique. Otherwise, you won't get another chance," Luo Gang's chilling voice echoed as he watched. Realizing that a single ice ancestral talisman was insufficient to stop the Nine Origins divine body, Ling Qingzhu gripped the 4-foot-long sword in her hand. The tip of the blade touched the other 5 ancestral talismans floating before her. Buzz. The 6 ancestral talismans activated simultaneously, unleashing a power that caused the surrounding mountains and skies to darken. The space within thousands of miles began to tremble as if drawn by some mysterious force. Before the Nine Origins divine body, 2 black vortices appeared out of thin air, rapidly expanding until they were several thousand feet in size. Boom! The trembling ground turned an ashen yellow, spreading with alarming speed. The land within 100,000 miles became barren, stripped of life. The once clear skies were consumed by darkness, shrouding the world. A faint yet mesmerizing aura of reincarnation began to pervade the atmosphere. Frozen worlds, spatial upheavals, desolate lands, enveloping darkness, devouring voids, and the grand path of reincarnation. The 6 ancestral talismans' powers were fully unleashed by Ling Qingzhu. "What is this power?" Luo Gang's composure faltered as he and Zhang Tian, watching from afar, were both visibly shaken. Beneath the barren earth, an energy so fearsome it made even Zhang Tian's heart tremble was surging upward. No, impossible. How can a mere second-grade supreme wield such power? Luo Gang's previously confident expression crumbled into horror as the overwhelming force entered his senses. The countless spectators around the battlefield were equally stunned. The ability to alter the heavens and earth, drawing upon their very essence, was a technique only Earth Supremes were thought capable of. "She truly lives up to being Lin Dong's woman," Thunder Lord and the others exclaimed with admiration upon witnessing Ling Qingzhu's mastery of the 6 ancestral talismans. No wonder Qingtan had mentioned that Ling Qingzhu once held her ground against a 5th-grade supreme. Boom! As Luo Gang's expression twisted in fear, the quaking earth erupted with a colossal yellow beam of light, shooting straight into the sky. This boundless force of the earth was something no one below the 4th-grade supreme could withstand, and it was unleashed by a mere 2nd-grade supreme. "Sorry, but this victory belongs to us," Ling Qingzhu murmured softly. Without hesitation, her delicate fingers pointed at the 6 ancestral talismans before her. Boom! The trembling earth unleashed a massive yellow beam, while from the darkened skies above, a beam of darkness and a beam of reincarnation descended. Simultaneously, from the 2 devouring vortices, a beam composed entirely of devouring energy surged forth. In the distance, space twisted violently, giving rise to a piercing silver beam. The frozen region shattered, releasing a white beam that shot upward into the air. The 6 beams, formed from the powers of mystic ice, devouring, darkness, life and death reincarnation, primordial wilderness, and space, converged into a light seal hundreds of feet in size before Ling Qingzhu. The terrifying energy emanating from it made even Zhang Tian in the distance feel an overwhelming sense of danger, let alone Luo Gang, who was only a 3rd-grade supreme. Retreat. Overwhelmed by Ling Qingzhu's unending and unforeseen abilities, Luo Gang's confidence crumbled entirely. Heaven and Earth. Ancestral Seal. Before Luo Gang could fully activate his 9 Origins divine body, a low voice echoed from Ling Qingzhu. In the next instant, a radiant seal in midair, imbued with the terrifying power of heaven and earth, traversed the skies with unimaginable speed and struck the Nine Origins divine body that Luo Gang had deployed. The collision was far from a stalemate. Under the overwhelming might of the heaven and earth power in the seal, the Nine Origins divine body crumbled as though it were a decayed tree, utterly destroyed. This sight shocked everyone present, shaking the heavens and earth around them. The destruction of the Nine Origins divine body inflicted severe damage on Luo Gang. Thud. As the body shattered, Luo Gang spat a mouthful of bright red blood. His figure, like a bird with broken wings, was flung backward, crashing onto a towering peak. The force of the impact caused the massive mountain to collapse. Victory in a single strike. She won. Ling Qingzhu, with the strength of a second-grade supreme, had crushed Luo Gang, a third-grade supreme. This battle undoubtedly left everyone in awe. She won. Sister Qingzhu won. On the side of the martial god sect, Ling Qingzhu's triumph was met with a wave of cheers. The disciples of the martial god sect seemed to release all their pent-up frustration from the past month. Meanwhile, on the side of the Wu Yuan sect, the atmosphere was entirely different. This useless fool. He has brought shame to the Wu Yuan sect. Zhang Tian cursed angrily at Luo Gang's defeat. Emph, sect master Zhang. There's no need for such anger. So what if they won the first round? Their strongest fighter has already played their hand. I refuse to believe that this group of newly ascended supremes, without a single supreme Dharmakaya, can take on our remaining experts. Behind Zhang Tian, a figure who wasn't part of the Wu Yuan sect spoke calmly. He was the sect master of one of the four profound continents' top factions. I highly doubt each of them is as unpredictable as that woman. You're absolutely right, Sect Master Lu. My momentary lapse was foolish, Zhang Tian replied with a smile. As Lu had said, there was likely no one else among the martial god sect as resourceful as Ling Qingzhu. For the martial god sect to win, they would need to secure at least 2 ties in the upcoming matches. Meanwhile, on the martial god sect's side, Ling Qingzhu descended gracefully. Her complexion was pale, a sign of the immense energy she had expended to channel 6 ancestral talismans. Nevertheless, she had achieved her goal of boosting morale. The next 3 rounds are up to you, Ling Qingzhu said, addressing the Lord of Life and Death and the others before retreating to the rear. She needed a place to replenish her depleted strength in preparation for any unexpected events that might occur after the 4th match. Truly worthy of the martial god sect's Grand Elder. The first round is yours, a calm voice rang out as Ling Qingzhu rejoined her comrades. Across the field, Zhang Tian waved his sleeve, and another figure emerged from behind him. This was a black-robed elder, surrounded by an aura of boundless spiritual energy. He was at the mid-stage of second-grade supreme, a level comparable to the ancestral talisman master in his prime. Back then, surpassing their master had been the ambition of the 8 lords. But now, the devouring lord was no more, and their youngest, the Ice Lord, had reincarnated into this great 1,000 worlds, her whereabouts still unknown. We'll take you on. A firm voice broke the silence as 2 figures flew across the sky, landing opposite the black-robed elder. If only the opponent were our master, the Thunder Lord murmured to the Lord of Life and Death, his gaze fixed on the black-robed elder ahead. Our master was far superior to him, the Lord of Life and Death replied, as the aura of a supreme stage expert surged from her body. In her heart, no one could easily surpass the one who had nurtured her from childhood and guided her path to power. True enough, the Thunder Lord said with a smile, as an equally potent supreme aura emanated from him. On the opposite side, the black-robed elder's gaze remained indifferent. Slowly raising his hand, an immense supremacy emerged behind him, its overwhelming energy vastly surpassing that of the Lord of Life and Death and the Thunder Lord. Thus began the second battle. The pitch-black, thunder-laden spiritual energy swept across the heavens like a tidal wave. Standing opposite them, the black-robed elder's expression remained calm as he stood with his hands behind his back. It was as though the impending battle was already under his control. After all, facing Supreme Stage experts who hadn't even cultivated a Supreme Dharmakaya, barely worthy of being called first-grade Supremes. The gap between them and a mid-second-grade Supreme like him was self-evident. Swish. Faced with the black-robed Elder's indifference, the Lord of Life and Death and the Thunder Lord sprang into action without hesitation, charging straight at him. Clearly aware of the power disparity, they sought to seize the initiative and turn defense into offense. A thunder mark appeared at the center of the Thunder Lord's forehead, and behind him, boundless thunderous spiritual energy coalesced into a sea of lightning. Within this vast sea, waves of thunder surged and churned, condensing into a colossal thunder dragon thousands of feet long, its sheer presence shaking the heavens and earth. Not to be outdone, the diminutive figure of the Lord of Life and Death radiated a profound energy of life and death. This power intertwined behind her, forming a reincarnation disk nearly 10,000 feet in diameter. The waves of reincarnation emanating from it were so overwhelming that even ordinary first-grade Supremes would momentarily lose focus, as if their souls were being drawn into eternal reincarnation. Their opponent was a true second-grade Supreme, a force on par with the ancestral Talisman Master. Knowing this, neither the Lord of Life and Death nor the Thunder Lord held back. They unleashed their full strength in a display that shocked the surrounding spectators. These visitors from the lower dimension were clearly no ordinary individuals, two newly ascended Supremes without Supreme Dharmakayas, yet their combined attack surpassed that of most first-grade Supremes. "This is getting interesting," the black-robed elder chuckled as the massive thunder dragon and reincarnation disk roared across the sky, heading straight for him. The spiritual energy pressure they emitted caused countless mountain peaks to collapse in their wake. Facing this ferocious attack, the black-robed elder slowly raised his right hand. With a simple motion of his index and middle fingers, the space before him twisted slightly. Two beams of light, as vast as an ocean, materialized and shot forward. These beams, brimming with terrifying energy, pierced through the sky with incredible speed, colliding directly with the Thunder Dragon and Reincarnation Disc. Boom! The earth-shattering clash unleashed a devastating shockwave. The Thunder Dragon and one beam struggled momentarily before both exploded into nothingness. The Reincarnation Disc lasted a few breaths longer, but was ultimately shattered by the overwhelming power of the remaining beam. How is this possible? The Lord of Life and Death stared in disbelief as their joint attack was effortlessly neutralized. On the martial god sect side, Qingzhu and the others narrowed their eyes, realizing the immense gap between their newly ascended Supreme Stage and a true second-grade Supreme. "Elder Feng, there's no need to hold back," Zhang Tian said with a faint smile, emboldened by the turn of events. The black-robed elder nodded in response, his own smile growing wider. "This time, it's your turn to take one of my attacks," the elder said, his voice calm yet resonant. Behind him, the Supreme Sea roared into motion. Spiritual energy surged like a tidal wave, forming a towering spiritual tsunami nearly 10,000 feet tall. Without hesitation, he directed the tsunami straight at the Lord of Life and Death and the Thunder Lord. The sheer force of this spiritual energy was enough to severely injure even a peak first-grade Supreme. "Huh, old man? At your age, you'd barely qualify as my grandson," the Lord of Life and Death sneered coldly. "Senior sister, let's risk it all," the Thunder Lord said grimly. Knowing that victory was beyond reach, he opted for mutual destruction. With a resolute gesture, he struck his chest, causing a stream of crimson blood to spurt forth. The blood essence transformed into pure spiritual energy as he began forming seals with his hands. The gathered energy condensed into an enormous spear of lightning, its radiating power warping the surrounding space. The Lord of Life and Death wasted no time. She also extracted a portion of her blood essence, despite the toll it would take on her body. Unlike the Thunder Lord, she didn't use it to create another attack, but instead channeled all of it into the lightning spear, amplifying its power to its absolute peak. The fusion of the power of life and death with the power of thunder eventually gave birth to a new force, the Thunder Spear. Imbued with this power, pierced through the heavens and streaked toward the overwhelming tidal wave of spiritual energy. This was the second strike, and also the final one. Boom. High above in the sky, the massive tidal wave of spiritual energy roared downward. From below, the colossal thunder spear surged upward, colliding with earth-shattering momentum. Under the gaze of countless onlookers, the two forces clashed violently, causing the surrounding space to twist and distort. A stalemate. On the side of the martial god sect, everyone stared at the distant sky where the two earth-shaking forces remained locked in midair. The thunder spear could not pierce through the tidal wave, and the tidal wave failed to crush the thunder spear. Admit defeat. This should be your strongest attack, the black-robed elder said calmly, standing with his hands behind his back as he looked at the Lord of Life and Death and the Thunder Lord. I haven't even used my true strength. The elder's words echoed like a thunderclap in the hearts of the two lords. They understood what he meant by true strength. It was clear now. This battle was lost. The situation was completely reversed compared to Ling Qingzhu's overwhelming victory against the third-grade supreme earlier. Old bastard, don't get too cocky, the Thunder Lord grinned. At the same time, the Thunder Spear, blocked by the tidal wave of spiritual energy, erupted with dazzling thunder light. A terrifying wave of energy that even a peak first-grade supreme would dread rippled outward. Then, as pitch-black spatial cracks spread from the center of the clash, a shocking explosion erupted in midair. The devastating impact flattened the surrounding mountains within hundreds of miles, sinking the ground by dozens of feet. The tidal wave of spiritual energy unleashed by the black-robed elder was torn open by the self-detonation of the Thunder Spear, leaving behind an enormous chasm nearly 10,000 feet wide. Heh, so you've given up? Seeing the Thunder Lord detonate the Thunder Spear, the black-robed elder smiled faintly. However, his smile froze the next moment. At the center of the explosion, the remnants of the Thunder Spear had not completely dissipated. Tiny streaks of thunder light, each no more than 10 feet long, emerged from the core. These were hundreds of thunder arrows, entirely condensed from thunder energy, with lightning runes flickering across their surfaces. Swish, swish, swish. The thunder arrows pierced through the heavens. By the time the black-robed elder reacted, countless thunder arrows were already upon him. Extreme polar Dharmakaya. Almost instinctively, a thunderous shout burst from the black-robed elder. Boundless spiritual energy surged behind him, forming a massive vortex thousands of feet wide. From within the vortex, a towering figure with a body like forged steel stepped forth. In a flash, the figure stretched out a 100-foot-wide hand to shield the elder. Boom, boom, boom. The torrent of thunder arrows crashed into the hand of the extreme polar Dharmakaya like a torrential downpour. Humph, thinking you can perish together with me? How naive. The black-robed elder snorted coldly. Yet, just as his words fell, a beam of thunder light pierced through the gaps between the Dharmakaya's fingers. It was not a thunder arrow but a thin streak of light no thicker than 5 fingers. And it was this light that caused the black-robed elder to sense a wave of imminent danger. Eye of the Ancestral Talisman.